Dear friends, loyal viewers and tireless dreamers who live for the behind-the-scenes heartbeat of their favorite stars, welcome to a new and exclusive episode from Whispers of Turkish Stars. Tonight, we're not merely relaying a rumor, we're tracing the outline of a destiny moment that unfolded on a pale, moody day of filming in Istanbul. Two artists who once seemed to stand on parallel tracks found themselves face to face again beneath studio lamps that burn hotter than memory. Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu. Before we unravel every nuance of what happened, help us keep this stage alive, subscribe, tap the bell, and consider joining as a member. Supporting Whispers of Turkish Stars doesn't just lift us, it opens doors that keep bringing you the deepest dives and the closest whispers. It began as any production afternoon does in the city where seagulls cry over domes and traffic never sleeps. Barış, disciplined and hypnotic, had just wrapped a scene that left the room humming with the kind of tension you only get when an actor digs into something real. Wires coiled, monitors dimmed, and a hush crept in until a sleek black car drifted through the studio gates and eased to a stop in front of the main entrance, with the sort of timing that reads like a cue in a script. Doors opened. A silhouette stepped out. It was Elçin. A long, camel-tone coat fell in careful lines around her, sunglasses hiding the story in her eyes, her posture tuned to that rare balance of nerve and grace. She wasn't on the call sheet. No assistant had penciled in a visit. Hair and makeup exchanged glances. A sound tech mumbled later that the temperature felt like it dropped when she appeared, and even those used to crises felt the grit of routine snap. A message made its way to Barış: someone important is waiting outside. He emerged while the light slid down the edges of the mosques in the distance, the city turning gold to ash. When their eyes locked, the murmurs of crew died out. No one dared move a cable or cough. It was the kind of silence that makes everything louder inside. They didn't rush. They didn't reach. They simply stood there for a few long beats, and the weight of years and unasked questions seemed to hang like a curtain between them. Then Elçin spoke first, voice low and even, words that cut through: "We should talk. We can't keep pretending this never mattered." They drifted toward a quiet corridor behind the set, a pocket of shadow away from extra hands and stray lenses. For 25 minutes, according to those who glanced at watches and whispered later, they talked. Or maybe they argued. Or maybe they sat with the kind of truth that hurts and heals at the same time. From a distance you could see Elçin's hands move. Restrained, elegant, but charged with feeling, while Barış listened with an expression caught somewhere between surprise and the softness reserved for something you thought you'd lost. Someone on the production, voice hushed like confession, said it looked as if they were negotiating the fate of an entire galaxy. Now a pause for you, the heart of Whispers of Turkish Stars. What do you believe was said in those 25 minutes? An apology long overdue, a brave promise, or a goodbye meant to bring peace at last? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this story pulls at you, hit like. Members keep this ship afloat, so consider joining for exclusive extras and to stand out in the chat during our live premieres. The moment word seeped onto the internet, the timeline didn't just react, it detonated. A tag with their names surged to the top of global trends, carried by fan pages in every language and time zone. A blurry clip of Elçin stepping from the car became a forensic case. Viewers slowed it down to hunt for the tremble of a breath, a tilt of the chin, any clue that might decode the mood. By the time late night bled into morning, one comment stood above the rest: his eyes shifted after she left. Something changed. And on set, that was the consensus as well. People from makeup chairs murmured that Barış looked different. Calmer. Unburdened, almost. Yet he was also far away, like a man listening for a sound only he could hear. One artist from the hair team admitted it felt as if he'd found the missing piece of a puzzle he'd been turning over in his head forever. All this fed hope, carefully, intensely, the kind that grows when a quiet moment hints at a larger story. The drama unfolding off-camera began to eclipse the scripted one on it. The next morning, Barış sat down for a short studio interview that was supposed to be about craft and schedules and premieres. But the question came, nimble and inevitable. He tried to keep the boundary intact, but a sliver of light slipped through. Sometimes people circle back into each other's orbit, he said, and there are bonds that deserve a second look. Time can change what we understand. It wasn't an admission, it wasn't a denial. It was the kind of sentence that opens 10 doors and closes none, enough to set the fandom on fire again. Later that day, Elçin posted a line that felt carved out of a longer poem, "Quiet can say everything." And this time it roared. Within minutes, the phrase was everywhere, pasted into edits, translated, recited like a lyric with a heartbeat. Those who have followed their journey read it as a sign that the meeting wasn't courtesy or nostalgia, but something cathartic, the breaking and mending of a delicate shell. Those cautious with hope countered that silence can also be protection, a way to shelter a complicated friendship from the storm of opinion. Either way, a message had been sent, and it was louder than noise. This is Whispers of Turkish Stars, your front row seat to the stories behind the spotlight. Tell us which actors you want covered next, and if you haven't yet, subscribe and hit join for bonus content, live chat badges, and our best deep dives before anyone else. As the tabloids looped grainy frames and late-night shows drew arrows on stills like crime boards, a new thread joined the weave. Observers noticed that days before the set visit, Elçin quietly unfollowed a colleague she'd been loosely associated with, ending a stretch of polite online nods. It could mean nothing. It could mean everything. Fans spun it as a kind of emotional housekeeping, the clearing of a shelf to make space for something she didn't yet have words for. During a casual live with followers, someone tiptoed around the topic. She smiled, not coy but knowing, and said what's real doesn't vanish, sometimes it just drifts off to breathe and find its shape. Hours later, on his feed, Barış shared a Bosphorus sunset, a sky layered in copper and blue, the water holding the last light. And captioned it with a line that sounded like a companion piece to hers: "There are pauses that answer more than speeches." No tags. No names. The internet supplied both. Industry talk, never far behind, began to hum with a pitch of possibility. What if this meeting wasn't only personal? What if it foreshadowed a new collaboration? The chemistry that made them a phenomenon on screen isn't something producers forget. Some insiders floated the idea that a prestige series could be built around a reunion that blurs the line between fiction and memory, letting them return to the origin of their legend, a set, a scene, the lightning of two people reading the same page at the same time. Fans pictured a red carpet where glances would say more than interviews ever could, and an award season where their names were spoken together again. Then came a small but telling adjustment. Production delayed a few interior scenes, citing scheduling needs. Pragmatic, on paper. But the whispers spun it into a gesture of respect, a window offered so that personal priorities could be handled with care. Those who hope saw a door being held open. Those who fear a tease urged caution, don't romanticize logistics. Still, the current of anticipation ran strong, impossible to ignore. If there's one truth that their story underlines, it's that paths in this industry are rarely straight. They twist through pride and panic, through timing that isn't ready and timing that arrives all at once. When two people share a rare wavelength, one that audiences can feel from the cheap seats, it doesn't vanish with a press release or a calendar change. It recedes, yes. It breathes. It waits to be asked back into the room. What happened that day, in that corridor where the light was thin and steady, seemed to prove that distance and silence are not endings but settings. And because this is the space where your voices matter, we ask you again, do you think that quiet conversation marked a bridge to something new, or did it finally give closure to a chapter that needed grace? Are we witnessing the dawn of a professional reunion, a private reconciliation between old friends, or both? Leave your thoughts below. Your perspective shapes the way we continue our coverage, and your support keeps us firmly on this path of careful, respectful storytelling. Thank you for staying with us through this deep, lingering look at a moment that set the city buzzing. If you haven't already, subscribe to Whispers of Turkish Stars, hit the bell so you never miss when a whisper turns into a chorus, and consider pressing join to help us keep bringing you access, context, and those rare frames where everything changes. Your trust and curiosity are the reason we're here. Until next time, we'll be watching the horizon where art and life blur, and we'll be here. Only on Whispers of Turkish Stars, when the next secret steps into the light.